The butts just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. 80s and 90s where women went really large with their breast implants. Over time, it didn't age well. They started to droop and sag.
Hi guys, welcome to Nordic Drip Coaching. Listen, it has been a minute since I have done a reaction video. Wait, hold on. I think this is my first reaction video on this coaching channel. I have a reaction video on my vlog channel if you want to check it out. And that video is with me and my son. In this video, I'm basically going to be reacting to a doctor that is talking about this new trend, guys. Talking about this new trend where people are actually taking out their implants, butt fillers, lip fillers, injections, the whole nine, guys. They're just taking it out, and this has become a trend, starting with Kim Kardashian. Now you see her butt is a lot smaller than it used to be. Black China taking out her stuff as well. Thank you to a subscriber for sending me this video. It has been a long time coming. I know I had this video sitting for a minute. Again, your girl has been busy, so I'm happy to get this video out. Let's start. So this is by a doctor. His name is Dr. Gary Motykie. I would have to say Motykie, yeah. And he is a plastic surgeon, for anybody in the comments or trying to figure out who's this talking. This is a doctor speaking on facts, and this video is called Plastic Surgeon Reacts to Reversal BBL Trends, Khloe and Kim Kardashian's Downsized Booty. Okay, and you could go directly to his website. I will leave the link in the description so you can watch it yourself. Check out a couple of more of his videos because he's very insightful. I want to say thank you to everyone that is on my channel, everyone that's supporting. Let's get right into this video.
Hi, I'm Dr. Gary Motykie, and I'm a board-certified Beverly Hills plastic surgeon. And today we're going to talk about the recent BBL reversal trend. I think it's actually a good thing. I wanted to dive in a little bit, talk a little bit about BBLs, which stands for Brazilian butt lifts. Although I think
yes, because a lot of people have been in my comments. What is a BBL? What is a BBL? Everyone should know at this point what a BBL is. So if you don't, there, he just said it.
more recently, or in the recent past, I would consider them more Brazilian butt augs or augmentations. So it's kind of a misnomer of sorts. I want to talk a little bit about the procedure, kind of who are the icons of this procedure, how it got started, and possibly why now we're seeing this trend of reversing the BBLs. Over probably the last decade, it seemed to, like other trends, the butts just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and everybody was trying to get theirs bigger than the last bigger one. I even think about that old song, Baby Got Back. I think in there he says, oh, 36, 24, 36, only if they're 5'3". Now I would say it's more like 36, 24, 86. And everything seems to have gotten way out of proportion. And those extremes, like I always say, are not necessarily a good thing. One thing to talk about is why did we see this trend? And I think there was two main reasons. One was, again, the icons of somewhat beauty and social media, like the Kardashians and a lot of other people on social media were showing bigger and bigger butts, and so it set this trend of that was the ideal shape of the body. And then I think number two was an improvement in the techniques of creating bigger butts. So in the past, the main procedure for butt augmentation was a butt implant, and that procedure was fraught with complications and issues. There's a large scar to put in the implant. The implant could only be put in one location. It shaped the butt somewhat, but it also gave the appearance of what we call like a bubble butt, where the implants would be kind of not blended with the rest of the butt. And then there was risk of the implants extruding, getting infected, moving. So the procedure never really got extremely popular. Now what changed was the procedures improved. We came up with the BBL, or the Brazilian butt lift, and that involved taking fat from somewhere else in the body through liposuction and injecting into the butt. Now this procedure was scarless. It didn't come with the implants, it didn't come with the wrists, it didn't come with all the long-term issues with the implant shifting or changing. So the procedure really advanced, and as we improved the ability of the fat to live and take, the procedure became more and more popular. More recently, one of the advantages of the Brazilian butt lift was you can do more than one. So you don't really put in more than one butt implant, but you can go back and do multiple BBLs. So you can go do one procedure, then do another BBL on top of that procedure, and you can gradually...
Listen, I have actually seen that. It looks horrible. I do not recommend doing multiple BBLs. Just saying, don't recommend it.
BBL on top of that procedure, and you can gradually increase the size of the butt, change the shape of the butt, do it to the hips, the sides, the front. You can really blend everything really well. And there's even some patients that have a butt implant and then put a BBL over the implant. So Now we're getting into the realm of, rather large butts. One other thing that was an improvement was also artificial injectable fillers in the butt. So those came along more recently, things like Sculptra, Renuva, and patients were injecting this into the butt, particularly if they didn't have any fat. So what do you do if you don't have any fat and you want to do a BBL? Your only other option was a butt implant, which came with those complications, or the artificial fillers. Now, one of the drawbacks I have to mention about the artificial fillers is the volume you have to inject to achieve any noticeable difference is a lot, and that means very expensive. Those procedures where if you can take your own fat, which is free and people have sort of readily available, made a lot more sense. So I think that's why we saw this explosion in this trend. One was the icons and the image of the body and the butt, and then two was the improvement in the procedures to create those bigger butts. And one thing I do want to say, whenever we're talking about Brazilian butt augmentations or butt augs, is don't inject silicone into your butt.
Do not. It's a shame that we live in a time where we have to tell people that, but just don't do it, guys. Look up all of the things silicone is used for. It should not be used in your butt. Period.
So hopefully that is a thing of the past. So that is one improvement again that we've seen. A lot of people are steering away from these hotel room injections of illegal silicone because it's very dangerous. The initial procedure can be dangerous as far as getting infections and lumps in the butt, and then long-term complications with that silicone, again, forming scar tissue, extruding, a lot of long-term complications. So again, I think that improvement using patients' own fat or the artificial fillers has improved the safety as well as the effectiveness of the procedure. One last thing about Brazilian butt lifts. It's not a minor surgery. Even though it's exploded and there's a trend, there's a lot of people jumping in the field and doing BBLs that aren't necessarily surgeons or trained to do these surgeries. And I just want to let people know that in inexperienced hands, this can be a very dangerous procedure. And mainly for two reasons. It's two surgeries in one. So the liposuction itself can be a dangerous procedure in inexperienced hands because we're actually sucking the fat out of areas, and it can be dangerous. You're putting a metal rod into the body and you have to know your anatomy. And also comes along with liposuction is the type of technique, the anesthesia, the tumescent. There's a lot of risks involved with just liposuction alone in inexperienced hands. And then number two is the BBL portion where we're injecting the fat back into the butt. Again, there's some very large deep veins there that can be dangerous. If that fat's injected into those veins, it can go straight to the lungs and it can kill somebody. So again, in inexperienced hands that don't know their anatomy, this can be a dangerous procedure.
And you see this a lot happening where you just think that you're going to a real doctor and that doctor is not even a real physician. Again, this is not a minor surgery. So just be really mindful.
And then the last thing I want to say about it is, like I always say, the less extreme the surgery, the less risky the surgery. So even if all the other things are done safely, if the liposuction is too extreme, that can be dangerous. And if the amount of fat that's injected in one procedure is too extreme, that can be dangerous. And the reason is, again, it can go into those veins. But secondly, if the fat is over-injected and too much is put in there, it won't survive, it won't live. And something will happen called fat necrosis, where the fat will die, and then that can lead to infections and scarring and problems with the butt. So I tell people, again, in all of procedures, steer away from the extreme versions of the procedures because that's when the risk of complication goes up. Having said all that, I don't want to scare anybody away from this procedure.
No, please scare them away. Please do.
Like I said, done in a conservative manner with an experienced surgeon who's board certified. This is a very safe procedure. Like I said, it's advanced so dramatically over the last decade or so that if done properly, it's very safe, very effective, and patients are very happy with it. And I tend to tell patients to lean more towards the Brazilian butt lift and the Brazilian butt aug. And again, that just means how extreme you're going with it. Don't go super extreme in one setting. Like I said, maybe do a little bit, and then later on in your future, if you want to add a little bit more, you can, but try not to go extreme with the first surgery at least. So I guess it's Kardashian time. So I think the first Kardashian we should talk about is Khloe, and I think Khloe has denied butt implant or butt aug rumors for years. I think in 2014 it kind of came to a head where there was some tweets going in and out, and she was saying that she's never done anything to her butt, that all it is going to the gym and working out and doing squats, and that made her butt bigger.
Hold up. Hold up. I just want to say that I am new to this video. I did not watch this video prior. I don't follow the Kardashians on social media. So let me just read what this says because I'm in awe. It says, sorry to disappoint, ... I've always had an ass. I know it's more fun to believe it's not real. Kind of a compliment since I kill myself in the gym. Okay. This is why I don't F with the Kardashians. This is a prime example for anyone that's like, oh yeah, people are just jealous of the Kardashians. No. Speaking for me, I don't mess with them because you blatantly lie to people that make you rich. Like, we make you rich. We buy your products, right? We consume all of your bullshit, right? Well, hold up. We don't. I don't. But people do. And you have the nerve to continue to just lie and think people are stupid. I am always in shock when I see fans of the Kardashians. I'm like, they think you are stupid. Like, they keep on playing on how intelligent you are. Like, this post is so stupid. Like, clearly your ass is fake. We can see it. Your thighs are mad small. Your butt is mad big in a fake way, not even in a gym way. I work out. I know what a gym butt looks like. This is not one. And the real hurtful thing is our daughters are watching this and they think that they have to kill themselves in the gym to obtain a butt like this. And since it's not real, they are constantly always trying, pushing. And their self-esteem is decreasing. And these Kardashians, they don't give a F about nobody, even though everybody has made them rich. Like, it's insane to me. All I'm gonna say is do your research. Look at Khloe before this BBL. Look at how her body type was. You will see that this is straight gaslighting, guys. The Kardashians gaslight y'all all day, every day. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm not with it.
Gym and working out and doing squats, and that made her butt bigger. The only thing I see about that is butts don't magically grow that big that fast, particularly if nothing else on the body has changed. So if you're working out and the rest of your body is slimming down, or the rest of the body is getting more muscular and everything is growing in proportion, that's usually working out. Or the other way, losing weight and it's getting smaller. But when one part of the anatomy just all of a sudden gets a lot larger, that's usually some sort of surgery or some sort of injection. So one other thing I want to mention about Brazilian butt augmentations and Khloe in general is that sometime around 2018, she got pregnant with her first child, and we saw that the butt got a lot bigger. And again, that's some of the, overall she gained a little weight. And what some people don't realize is that that fat that's transferred into the butt is living fat.
Here's the thing with that. Khloe Kardashian has always been chunky. Her butt has never been that big. Being a mother of 4, I know for a fact, a majority of your fat, especially after you give birth, it goes to your boobs and your stomach and your hips. It doesn't just all go into one side of your ass. Like, that is not realistic. And I'm speaking from facts. I've had 4 kids.
So it's going to behave like fat anywhere else on the body. So during pregnancy or gaining weight, that butt's going to get bigger and bigger as well. Not just in particular her, but in general, it makes me more suspicious of a Brazilian butt lift or augmentation with fat when I see those butts get a lot larger with pregnancy or weight gain, because again, that butt's going to expand and that fat's going to get larger. So at that point, we saw her butt get really big. And then it's interesting because there's a dramatic change more recently, right? So we went from this rather large butt to recently, about a year ago, we see that her butt shrunk quite a bit. And I think we're calling, some people are calling it kind of the country club BBL, or just the smaller, kind of more respectable BBL. Now, there's also the fact that she probably lost weight as well. So just like with the pregnancy and gaining weight, the butt gets bigger. If she loses weight, the butt will shrink. So there's probably some of that as well going on with the weight loss. And then more recently, Khloe, we see the butt's even smaller, but she's even smaller. So again, there could have been some weight loss there. And then in general, when we see dramatic reductions in the butt, it's just the opposite. You liposuction the butt. So instead of injecting the fat, you remove the fat through liposuction in the butt, and you can shrink the butt. If it was a butt implant, you take out the implant. If it's both, you can take out the implant and liposuction the butt. But I will say, when there's a really dramatic change, the concern is that, then it might involve what's called a butt lift or scars on the butt. So it's really hard to say because it is a very dramatic change. So now we're going to move on to Khloe's sister, Kim Kardashian. She also denies ever having surgery on her butt. But we have seen her butt go from small to really big, back to small again. So what do we think is going on here? If you look at her back in 2008, you can see she has a proportional, shapely butt. It doesn't look out of proportion to the rest of her body. And then over the next decade or so, you know, we sort of see the butt kind of getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And if we look at some of the photos posted around 2017, 2018, we see that Kim's butt is quite out of proportion to the rest of her body.
Fake. And again, she's here lying. She's here lying, keeping up this agenda of, I didn't get no plastic surgery. And I get it. I totally get it. It's extremely embarrassing because you're supposed to be this person that's of high confidence and high self-esteem. And you want people to have this illusion that you were just naturally born perfect. You were just naturally born this way. And you want to convince young women that the only way you can have this body is to buy their products, buy their shakes, buy their bands. If you want this type of body, everything is, how can I get someone to consume? So they have to lie, because if you just tell them, listen, none of my shit works, I have to pay for all of this. I have to pay for my butt, I have to pay for my stomach, I have to pay to have a doctor come to my house, constantly take fat out, put it in, I have to pay for someone to Photoshop all of my pictures. If you were honest with your viewers, they would not consume your product, because they would be heading to, okay, who is she hiring for this? How did she get this? And then the next conversation would be, how low is your self-esteem? And more importantly, why are you scamming us and not keep it 100, not keep it a buck? Why do you think that's okay? And then you will see where their intention lies, how they really feel about you. Because in no shape or form should you be lying to people that support you, people that make it so you can have the house, make it so you can have all your surgeries. Let's continue.
You know, some of the photos that were leaked that were untouched and other photos around, you can see that the butt has significantly increased in size. And I think this is somewhat through that decade is what started this trend, you know, them being the icons and the social media influencers. People started seeing the trend of the bigger butts, and I think that started as long with, like I said, the procedures getting more effective, this trend of bigger and bigger butts. Now, the only thing I can say about that again is that I'm not a huge fan of trends or fads in surgery, because the extreme looks eventually will go out of style. In some cases, when they're really extreme, they're difficult to correct or sometimes impossible to correct. So that's the reason I tell people, you know, again, steer away from those trends. And as we can see now, the trend is switching. So we're going to probably be seeing a lot more of this reversal trend in the near future. Overall, I think it's a good trend this time to see celebrities sort of reversing extreme surgeries and reversing these extreme BBLs, or any extreme surgery for that matter. As they say, a butt on a stick is not a great look, and it's not going to age well. That's the other thing. So similar to the extremely large breasts we were seeing maybe in the 80s and 90s, where women went really large with their breast implants, over time it didn't age well. They started to droop and sag, and they needed to go with smaller implants, and then they needed breast lifts with scars. You know, it led to a lot of problems, and I think we're going to start seeing a similar trend with the butts that were overly extremely done. Also, like I said, they have to be careful, because some patients don't realize with weight gain, with pregnancy.
No, it's not. And I have to agree. I'm so happy that this trend is changing, because there's a lot of women out here dying, guys. In this video, I speak on how my friends had her kidney taken out. All for the BBL trend, guys. I would like to say all of the women out there that was like, you know what, I'm not doing this for no trend. All of the women that had to fight against a lot of people saying you should do this, you would look better if you had that, you can have this job if you did that, and you held your ground and you were confident and you said, nope, I'm not with it. You guys are winning, because now everyone is gonna follow this new trend of let's take it out, and that's a whole nother procedure. So just be there, sitting there like, I don't have to do the work, I'm natural. Because listen, trends do change. This is why I don't follow trends, I don't follow fabs, I do not follow none of that. And not for nothing, and this is how y'all women be looking out here, just like this little guy with the skinny legs and the big butt and the big head, because all the fat goes up to your head and your shoulders and you look like a damn football player. I want to say that I'm not trying to bash no one that has had a BBL. I'm not trying to talk down on plastic. Well, I'm trying to talk down on this plastic surgery procedure, because it's very dangerous, and if you can avoid to risk your life, I am gonna push it. Like, I'm gonna definitely say do not do it. It's not worth it. I will say that do what makes you happy, but just kind of, you have to follow up, guys. You can't have a BBL, have your legs mad skinny, looking like you're some kind of ant woman out here in these streets. Like, you're gonna have to pay to have some fat also put in your thighs, trying to make it all even out, because we can tell the procedure that you had and it doesn't look cute this way. So if you are going to invest in having a BBL, at least make it all look natural, especially if you're gonna be out here lying about it. Just saying.
Other things, because it is fat, it can change and get even bigger. So we are seeing this trend with patients coming in and want to reduce the size of the BBLs, and I think that's a move in the right direction. And if they do it young enough and with lipo, I think it can be done very effectively with minimal scarring.
So guys, that is the conclusion of today's video. I really do think this was super duper insightful. I think he said a lot of key things, and K Michelle's story was totally devastating. And the fact that she's trying to speak on it and help other women is phenomenal. I think we all need to start speaking up. If you have something that you want me to do a reaction video to, please send it, guys. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe, hit that like, share, just join the community, guys. Bye.